Hey, Tom, from a microphone to come up there and let me say hello. Hey, there you are. And I was painting a little rooster up in the tiny window, I think. Get down and get up to tunes. Get down. Great to see John Robert Small on this morning. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Well, that last one, we're not so sure about. Hey, top of the morning, Janice Albright. Thanks for being on the show, Roosters. You guys, it's the Pun Crew. You should have been called the Pun Crew instead of the Ruse Crew. Blessings to you, Chris Whitaker. Thank you for being on the show. Deborah Lynn Tauber. Bob from the mind-bending cornfields of Iowa. Ooh, the mind-bending cornfields. Wind must be blowing over there. Skeeter Pal, top of the morning to you. Skeeter Pal, got a package leaving here today for you. I think you'll know what that is. A few roos are coming your way. Karen Binder, thank you for being on the show. Is it Binder or Bender? Binder. I think I'd be Binder because there's no E in there. Ben. Okay. What was that a guy named? I had a friend named Bend Over. Bend Over. What a name, Bend Over. His sister was named Eileen. Boom, I'll be here all week. Nancy Catley, thanks for being on the show. Jennifer Yentz, top of the morning to you too. Haven't seen your name on the show in a while. Bert Crone, thank you from soggy Greenville. What? Is it pouring south of here? Okay, man, hour and a half. It's just, maybe it's coming my way. I'll use a drink of water before I go. Karen Pulver, thanks for being on the show. Virginia Man, John Robert Small. Amy Roach, thank you for being on the show. And Randall Taylor Craven. You should write a book. Your name just sounds like it was written by Randall Taylor Craven. I love it. Donna Beasley, thanks for being on the show. Trish Brown, Laura Logan, thank you. Morning to you. Morning, she says, just like that. Morning with no G. Deborah Spangler, G is silent in morning, just like it is on the Gila monster, which they say it's Gila monster. You don't pronounce the G. And I said, yes, that's why they can sneak up on you. The G is silent. Deborah Springer, Beverly Schmidt, thank you for being on the show. Another Greenville person. Tia, morning from Maine. I'm coming in your direction. Going to trope around Maine a little bit. In fact, I got a whole desk full of, oh my gosh, take a look. Got a whole desk full of just little things we'll talk to you about this morning. Just crazy stuff going on. Carol Todd Mundy, thanks for being on the show. Becky Bailey. Jane Faig, good morning to you. Jane is a friend who has all kinds of Roodoodles at her home, on her wall, and a lot of bees. Jane is beekeeper, amongst other things. Good to see you on the show. Elaine Barnett, thank you for being on the show. Daubers, love it, love it. Good morning, fellow Dagger Daubers from the coffee capital of Latin America. There it is. There's his official greeting, John Robert Small. Susie DeLay, glad you didn't delay anymore, but said hello. Don't you love that little snappy tune? I painted that snappy tune while I was painting this little lobster. There he is, just with a fountain pen and a water brush. I'll probably do it again. Why? Because I'm painting 100 of them, remember? And I got to tell you how many I'm into so far. Kathy Taylor, welcome to the show. Karen Binder, thank you for being on the show. Wait, I just said that because I said Binder Bender. Annette, thank you for being on the show. Pat Thompson, Annette from Bird Island. Jean Anthalzer, good morning. Diane Soho, checked in from Crescent Beach as opposed to Brown and Serve Beach. It's right up the street from Crescent. Boom. It must be Monday morning and I'm feeling good. I've got a busy, busy day. Oh my gosh, it's crazy busy. But I'm excited about it. The president of United World Mission, a great missionary organization. They train missionaries all over the world. He's coming by at 10:30, and I'm shooting a video for him. Been working on tweaking the script a little bit. And I mean, it's his words, but I'll just sort of tweak it to say in video, if you say chrysanthemum, it doesn't really say, just say flower, And so it's the fun stuff that I get to do in my other job, which is painting with a video camera and editing and doing that. I've been working on some fun projects this week. In fact, I've got 2 deadlines today. What? That's how it works. The adrenaline will just kick in a little bit, Lord willing, and I'll make it. Barbara Mayer, thank you for being on the show. Linda Lawless, Janice Scott. Janice Scott, I think you just bought a painting from me. Yes, I think you were the auction winner of this little bunny right here who says, don't suppose you could loan a carrot or two. And I just was doodling on the phone one day and thought, I did these little circles on this piece of hot press 6x6, and I thought, that looks like rabbit ears. And so then I just started going, and then I was listening to some music that reminded me of Eleanor Rigby, and I thought I should draw kind of like a Nehru jacket and the Beatles. So that's how you get into painting, so. June Jones, thanks for being on the show. Chris Young, welcome. Karen Piker, thank you for being here. Sue Kane, it's in the mail, Sue. I tell you, it's coming that way. It may take 15 or 18 days to get to you in South Africa, but it's on its Scout South Africa. I was talking about Africa earlier on a text. It's South Australia. I'm so sorry. It started with an A. Karen Ryan, good morning from Atlanta, the whole city. Renee Keese, a good artist on the show. Pat Lightbody, Alice Durham. Wow, you guys are piling on. There's Pat Brooks. Thank you for being the emoji queen herself. I just hope that I think Pat someday will do a book, and it'll all be in the hieroglyphics of emojis, and you'll just have to you'll have to know how to read Egyptian hieroglyphics to read her book. Lard Belushi, thanks for being on the show. Ann Westra, Catherine Brousseau, Jay Berg, Kyle Dixon. Good morning, Kyle, from the Funny Farm. We're canning oyster toads today. Woohoo, baby. I made some fried oysters. I don't want any raw oysters, and I don't want any oyster toads. I don't even know what those are, but I hope they're those little pieces that you cut out underneath the shell. Lori Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson, thanks for being on the show. Carol Monday, Lisa Schleichner May, Laura Abbott from gloomy morning in Southwest Ohio. All right, so here we go. Let me get busy here. Deborah Bennett, golly, Mickey Hupp, thanks for being on the show. Julie Waldner, you're there, thank you. Jacqueline Goodrich. Melanie Wilkes from I could say this, Melanie Wilkes from Shellman Bluff. It's funny how you start connecting people. Sharon Fritz Newman Moibus. And that is one of the longest names that I know of people from Tennessee. But glad you're on the show. Fritz Norman. Does that not sound like maybe a fine china? Fitz and Floyd. Fritz Norman. I'm drinking out of Fritz Norman china. I love having fun with your names. Just know that I do it all in great cheer and the fact that you're on this show. Letty Benning. Letty, I don't know that I've seen your name before, so if I've missed you popping up on this show, I love it. Letty, I love it. Dinah Nicholas. Jason says great things about you. Ha! Whoa, are you a sister? Dinah, D-I-N-A. I had a good friend in school named Dinah. Jason says great things about you. Well, thank you very much. We say great things about Jason. He is a chance-taking line artist. He loves the inspiration of the line, and he's an architect teacher. I know about Jason. Jason, I stay in touch. Phil Wilbarger, thanks for being on the show. Lisa and Sandra. Golly, there's just so many people. And Dorina Tan. That's a new name for me, Dorina Tan. So thank you. I like to catch these new names. This is why I do this. I get to just familiarize myself with who's asking questions. And so, Dinah, you're being welcomed by friends on this show. Isn't that amazing? I don't even have to do all the welcoming. You guys got it. All right, so tip your waitress, Bob says. All right, let's do something here. Scrolling on down. Man, you guys are piling on big time. Must be a slow morning in everywhere Monday. All right, so here we go. Watch this. I opened the show painting this little snappy little lobster here. And I'm going to paint one more for you this morning. But before I get into why I'm painting it on this piece of Roodoodle paper. And you see this little, well, here, let me just jump on this. This is important. I started to say, I don't know how this happens, but I do. I'd like to blame it on something else, but blaming is far too easy. So I'm the person responsible, but it just happens. And I'm sure that it happens in your world too, where, whoops, did I flip that around backwards? Yeah, there it is. I kind of like that shot. Let's see what that shot looks like again. There we go. That's a big old shot of me and a little shot of my desk. Well, that's no fun. That's not how anybody wants to watch the show. There, that's how you want to watch the show right here. For the last year, I have been carrying around these little drawing pads here. This black and white modeled face here that someone did just brilliantly, and they have little pieces. Most of them had little pieces of tape on them because all the covers sort of looked alike. And so I put birds on one, tinies, kitchen window tinies. I put on this one. I put some that said vegetables. I put some that said roosters only. Anyway, they were just so I could just flip through them. I'd have to. Here's one that I ripped some pages out of. This is fish and flies. There's a little crab. There's some birds. There's another bird. These birds were in another pack. I sold the entire bird pack that had. I actually added 4 in there. I think it was 20 something, 26, 28 birds. Sold the whole pack during the David's Table auction to a lady down in Greenville, and I missed that thing. But I'm so glad that she's given it a home, and I love this paper. It's only 90-pound paper, but it holds watercolor pretty well. It's great to have in my bug out bag when I'm traipsing across the country, here and there, my little bug out bag. And so help me, I think I have 2 left. The rest, I've got another dozen or 2, maybe there's more than 2 dozen being printed right now. And so they're coming. Everything that I own is being printed and it's not here. That's just the way life is. And I started working on this a long time ago. Orders because of COVID are still backed up. I'm still waiting on cups, and found another supplier, and now I'm waiting on that supplier. I'm working on tea towels. Tea towels are going to come before Christmas. I've got there's probably going to be 1 new design, 2 of my favorite repeat designs, and there's rumor, and I started it. There's rumor that I'm going to create a lobster tea towel. I think I got to have a lobster. I think I got to come back from. Maine with a lobster tea towel. So I think it's got to be like that. Just going to have some lobster on there, and I think he's going to be real colorful. He's not just going to be black and white. He's going to look more like one of these. I think. Take a look. This was number 92. And this is number 93. Not looking at the other one, just drawing again. So there's 92, there's 93. So snappy is my lobster painting music. Don't you think that's creative? All right. So there's one that I did, tells its time, and there's the other one. I think I did 2 of those. Just boom, while you watched, I did that one. And so he's going to be a big red lobster. I am, no pun intended on the red lobster. This is my lobster book. There's about 45 in this book. I love this one right here. Look at this. You start liking something. See that? I'm drawn to this color right here, like this. But I love these little gray ones here. And the first person to send me a little gray one that I really liked was Tom up in Maine. And I'm going to visit with Tom next week. Later this week, actually, maybe. So there's just a claw that I did, and this one happened to be upside down that day. So he's laying on his back. I guess he's already trapped. There they are crawling around. There they are crawling around. There's some water splashes. There's 2 that are slugging it out, and that's the lobster roll. See what I did there? Yeah, they're working on finding their voice. So I got to have them find their voice. Morning, a bit later, but better butter. Should have been butter than ever, Jen. Lobsters are incredible museum quality. Here is my favorite that I'm going to create. If I ever created a lobster t-shirt, it would be this one, right? It's fun to stay at the YMC. Hey, stop singing. Bobby's in the trap. That made me laugh the day I thought of that. Okay. And I thought about this because we always paint these lobsters with their claws up like this, right? And they look like the letter Y, so that's what made me think of that. There's one that's called Putting on the Bisque. I did that one last night. One like it, I'll show you. There's that dark one, just with a flare pen. Here's one eating a lighthouse in Cape Elizabeth. You know, you have to learn to draw a lobster and a lighthouse before you go to Maine, or you're arrested and put in jail if you go there and claim that you think like an artist. So that's what I'm doing here. So these are my goal on practicing what I preach, 100 paintings of something to learn how. A white sport coat and a pink crustacean. I'm all dressed up for the dance. I think that one is going to make a good painting someday. I had to copyright that one. Lobster tails, $5. Have you seen it? You know the story about lobster tail for $2? Hey, you'll see a sign that says lobster tail for $2. I gave the guy $2 and he said, once upon a time, there was this lobster. There's one that really got me going on the colors, and I really like the colors. There's one of just, there's a lot of green in that, and there's one crawling onto the page. There's one crawling down the page. There's one said like I'm getting out of the page. There's one going the other way, and then I've got a few more to go before I finish this. So what I was going to say before I interrupted myself was lobster tails. Patricia, you're already on it. You see what's happening? The word she used is like my first album that I did. One of my first albums was going to be, I'm going to have to beat your tail. And it was T-A-L-E. He's walking across the studio. Where's he going? He's going to the bookshelf to grab the tape. There they are right there. Two of my first storytelling albums. One was Life's a Gift. There it is right there. Look at this with the mullet. Wait, I still have one. And the vest. You know, as a storyteller, you had to have a vest. You had to have a vest on. Because you could say to an audience, and I'm going to paint today. I just get wound up telling stories. I'm excited. You could walk up and you could say, by the power in my vest. Which was a little different than the power invested in me. You know the difference, but you could always say, hey, could you marry us? You said, by the power of my vest. So you wore a vest as a storyteller. This is called Life's a Gift. And that was a storytelling album that I did years ago. Remember cassettes? You know, you had to have a pencil to tighten them up. This is called I'm Going to Have to Beat Your Tail, T-A-L-E. And it's the one-upmanship of storytelling. It had rules for whittling and high divers and the kiss. And the Opossum Perpetuation Preservation Society, people concerned about keeping your highways clean. There's a story on there called Baby Mule Eggs. There's a story called Airliner Diner, and it's about an old B-17 Fortress that crashed in the mountains, and a man bought it, turned it into a restaurant. I just made all this stuff up. And there's a story on there called I See Light, and it's a Christmas story. Anyway, So lobster tails is one of those. It's T-A-L-E-S. So Patricia, you're on it big time. And I am on a roll. Thanks, Ann. I've just been fired up a little bit. I think I'm excited. I've got a couple projects coming to an end today. So I've been handling this as postpartum. You know, when you finish a project, you have postpartum blues. And so I've been painting these. But this was 92, 93. I'm going to paint 90. That was 98. I'm painting 99 today. I'll probably do 100 tomorrow, and I will have my 100 roos before we climb on a plane and go to Maine, which led me to wanting to blame something on someone else, and it's this right here. Here's what I really wanted to say. How does this happen? How does it happen that you wind up with all these small little journals? And I know how it happens because it's the same way that many of you who I've seen shots of where you work, you just have mountains and drawers full and closets full of pencils and paper and pieces of art gizmos. And so same with me, I am pulled to little paper. So for a year, I painted in these right here. 98 pound. So I want to tell you about a new product, so get your notepad out. This is interesting enough for me to just mute the music for a second. I don't, and this is not anything bad about the company. In fact, I met Steve Green, and I think Hobby Lobby does a marvelous job, but I don't use their paper. The reason is because it looks like maybe that their press was maybe a piece of farming equipment. It's just got these big old honking waves in it. It might be great for painting the ocean. But I've painted on it a couple times. It's very inexpensive, and I love that about paper, if you can paint on inexpensive paper. And I do sometimes, but there's something about it. So, but I happened to be next door to it. And I just thought, I'm going to walk in and just go take a look at what they have. And I was searching for these, and I could order them online. I can get them from Joe Miller, but not in time for me to be in Maine. And I wanted a couple of these to just slip in my small little bag. I got an art bag, and then I have I have this bag that goes in my art bag. I need a Sherpa to help me carry all my bags. I need a mule maybe to go on an art trip. But anyway, I'm trying to take limited tools. So I have this little piece of drawing paper, and I've been drawing in them, and I like them. The one thing that you've heard me say lots of times that I don't care for as much is that I love bright white paper because I love it when the color pops. Okay, it's just a style thing. This is a little more cream oriented than I really like. It's a cream colored paper. It's good. It works well. It just looks a little bit aged to me, and I like paper that just goes boom. That's why I like Kilimanjaro so much. It is just super bright white, and the colors just race off of it. So as I popped into Hobby Lobby, I looked all through their art paper, and I just go, nothing. I don't want it. Looked at some of it, didn't like it. Compared it to Fluid, Fabriano, Kilimanjaro in my mind, and I just went, no, I just don't like the feel of it. It's too wavy for me. Look, this is personal flavor. This is nothing against the company. They're a great company. And by the way, I told you I met Steve. I'd tell him this to his face. Maybe somebody may send it to him. That's perfect. Call me. And I'll tell you how to change your paper. Not that I'm right. And then I walk by this little end cap, the little thing right there. That's the official designation for end cap. And there were these two little pads, and one said mixed media pad. Now that caught my attention. There it is. And the other one said drawing pad, and it was about 2 times or 3 times thicker than this one usually is. Now, I put a different cover on it because I didn't like their cover. Here, I'm just going to rip it off and show you there. I didn't like their cover. I just thought that cover was kind of cheesy. So I'm going to put a piece of brown paper on that, and I'll just glue something on there. But here's what this said. Look at this. It says 95 pound. Ooh, that's a little thicker than this. And then I opened up the page, and look what I got. Drawing paper that's wider and thicker. Whoa, you can actually see the tone difference. See that? And look at this. There's a little perforation right here so that this absolutely just rips right off and leaves the little ring. Or if I rip the ring off like this, I can fold this down and it tears off, and I don't have to get the scissors out. And not that that's any big thing, but there it is right there. Okay? So take a look at the paper. Same size paper. A little whiter, a little heavier, and it has a touch of texture to it that I kind of like. So it's just because I like to throw out products every now and then. They're not a sponsor yet. They probably won't be after what I just said about them, but it's okay. This was $3.99, but it was on sale for 50% off. So I got both of these for $4.27 or something like that. Come on, rock and roll. This one is a drawing pad, 95 pound. This is mixed media pad, which accepts water and all kinds of media. It was $3.99 on sale. It's 110 pound, and it has a tooth. Now, it's a little more creamy than this one, but it has this tooth. I did a shrimp on it just to show you what the shrimp looks like. There he is right there. Mayport shrimp, a big Mayport shrimp, which I love to eat when I go down to Jacksonville. Okay, there's a little roux, gives you an idea of what the roux look like on there. So what happens is, it just happens. These fell right into my cart, and I had to buy them on the way out. That knowing that when I got out to my bag, I already had this book that I bought in Destin, Florida, to put all the lobsters in. That's what started me in my lobster count for 100. I was down there without an art pad. And then my friend in Paris sent me this one. And so I love it, and I've started a lobster too in it. It's the main thing, and I thought, I'm going to take this and this is brilliant paper. It's 138 pound, and it's classy watercolor paper, super bright white. But I don't know if I'm going to take this one. And she sent me this one too, and it's just not enough real estate for me, but it's great for a grocery list. Hey, hon, I got the detergent and the coffee. But I do like it, okay? All right, so let me show you something else. So that one, these two. Okay, so it's this thing. It's like old cars that breed at night. And then I'm taking my Japanese journal. So you got all this. Yep, the man has a problem. This is my Japanese journal. It's one piece of paper that's folded accordion style. It's about 12 feet long. Sorry, I hit my microphone there. And I've got so much junk on the desk, I don't even know if I'm coming or going. Let me set these down here in the floor. Boom. And this one. But now take a look. I couldn't resist this. Ready? This is made by the Handmade Journal Company, made by Speedball Inc., printed in India. Their office is in Statesville, North Carolina. And I bought this for a specific thing. Look at this. I'm going to have painted 100 lobsters. I'm going to paint some lighthouses. I'm going to do some harbors. And I've never been a good hand sketch guy at just sketching landscape and harbor. But I'm going to try. And I'm going to try right in front of God and you and the whole world. And I thought this, look at this little journal. It opens up. I've already done a little roo in the front. Look at the paper. Is this just rock and roll? Look at this. This thing is, where's my measuring tape? I'm going to show you how big this thing is. All the way across, it's 16 inches. So this is 8 by 3.5 or 3 5/8. What a great place to do a lobster crawling across this page. Is that not going to be just fantastic? I think it's going to be just fantastic. I need some music here, don't I? And his claw, the claw of a lobster hinges down here. I'm learning this, see? So this is the kind of stuff, the crazy stuff that I've been working on, like that. It comes up like this and then goes back around, and then you do the other piece right in there. Look at that. See how that fell into view? It just works. And after doing now 99 of these, what happens is you start getting this feel for muscle memory. And you go, oh my gosh, I love how that's working. I love what's happening when this is going forward like this, okay? It's rocking, it's coming out, there's the legs coming down, and then you got the tail piece, which is sort of a round piece. There's another little piece in here, and then there's a little flap outside, and they have these little feathery pieces that come back here that just give them a little quietness. Those are called silencers. I just made that up. I don't think they are. But they keep them quiet going through there because they're crusty old birds. And I'll put some of this on them in here and come in here like this. And then of course you've got the big antennae that come back that way. Maybe this one's bent and goes back. So there's a lobster, and he's like 6.5 inches long. I'm gonna take a water brush and let's see, wash water. We need a little wash water music. Here we go, right here. Let me hit my movie mute button. N-I-J-I, needs your brush. I like water brushes. Just like to squeeze it and let it run. A little orange in there, maybe a little blue around the hinges. Oil the hinges. Maybe a little blue splash on the page. Watch this. Just drop, 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 drop. Touch it with a little blue. And then just give it a blow with this white shirt on. Look at that. Huh? Okay, so this journal is made by this company right here. Here we go. This journal is made by Handbook Journal Company. There it is right there. The handbook, and in fact, the price is still on this one. That one was about $12, I think. and that's pretty expensive for a journal. And look what's happening here. Just because I love it, it's happening on its own, and I'm not messing with it. There's this pen that I use. I use my Lamy pen, and so I don't mind that all this is just kind of getting really messy right here. Just this lobster is in a mess. I kind of like that. Is that not fun? Just let it happen. You know, you look at it and you go, "Oh, that's a lobster," and he's coming out from under the barnacles. So it's a handbook journal company, and it's made by distributed by Speedball Art Products, which is in Statesville. But the book is made in India, I think. But the cover of this book is like a canvas glue on. It's hardbound, and this one here, this one is 3x8. This one is probably 5.5 by 8.25. So I think I'm going to take both of these with me to Maine. So I've got a couple little journals to go. I'm deciding. Tomorrow's my deadline to decide. And then look what I have in here. Okay. So that's the little painting. I wanted to show you what would happen if you just threw that in there. Just started sketching draft horses. Whoa, Becky, great. Golly, love it, love it, love it. And here, somebody asked me, why are you painting 100 lobsters? And I give them my joke of, you got to, if you're going to say you're an artist and go to, or at least think like an artist and go to Maine, if you don't paint a lobster or a lighthouse, you get locked up in jail and are fined. And so I've been doing that, but I've really been telling them the truth. And here it is. Muscle memory. If you want to learn how to paint bicycles, paint 50. If you want to learn how to paint bicycles well, do 100. And you'll start to get the feel of making the circles and where the design is and where the sprocket is in relation to the wheels and where the crank is in relation to the sprocket and where the knee is if somebody's riding a bike. You start to get a vision in your mind. Do you look at lobsters in the beginning? Oh, sure. I looked at pictures of lobsters. My wife bought an olive oil bottle with a lobster on it yesterday, and I went, hey, I could paint that now. I would have never said that only 2 months ago. I had done one lobster that I know of in my life. And the reason I wanted to paint the first lobster was because I've written a poem about a lobster who is found sitting on a park bench because it works in a pinch. He doesn't want to go back out in the ocean because it terrifies him a little bit, but he's taken a job on a food truck as the marquee. And he has a clause, 2 clauses. They won't eat me. And so it's a poem that I've written. It's a book I'm working on, Odes from the Ocean, Rhymes from the Rivers, Poems from the Ponds. And I needed to have a lobster. And so I thought, ooh, I'm gonna have to do the same thing with alligators. I'm gonna have to do the same thing. I've started doing that with flamingos, and I've done about 30 flamingos. And I like the one I've done. But my point is I may land it in the 20, but I'll get a muscle memory into sketching. I hope what happens with docks and with landscapes at up in Maine and with just the whole harbors of some boats and lobster boats. So anyway, I think you see where I'm going with that. All right. Here is a couple things. One was a gift. Well, both of these were gift. This one was a gift from Paris with the colors already in it. It's Charvin colors, and they're pretty. And this little palette comes with a ring on the back. Can you see the ring right there? So you put your finger in there like this, and then that way you can stand out there and paint, and it doesn't fall off your hand. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So Irma sent me one of these, and I didn't know how cool it was. She got it from the Whiskey Painters, and it's empty, has the ring on the bottom, and tomorrow I will get to fill it up with the colors that I'm going to take with me to Maine, and I'll probably paint out of this. Now, I'll still take my small little like I painted last night. I painted last night, actually, and I gave away my first lobster last night, and here he is right here. Let me see if I can get him up. Here it is. Watch this little video. I think it'll roll up. See them right there? There we are at, this is a paper tablecloth, and so I used my small brush, my pen, and there was a great comment there. The lady next to us kept sort of looking over, and I realized she's probably watching what I'm doing, thinking that poor man, he must not have an iPhone because he's painting on the tablecloth. And she finally put her on her glasses and says, can I come look? And we said, sure. And she put on a mask. She came over. And then her first question was, what is it? And I went, well, obviously I may have to do another 100. She goes, oh my gosh, it's a lobster. And so I ripped it off the tablecloth and I gave it to her. And I just thought it was only appropriate to do that. So it was kind of fun. So there's that multicolored lobster. And I think that's kind of the lobster that I'm going to put on my tea towel when I get ready to do that. So I'm going to have a lobster tea towel. So there's my story. I'm sticking to it. Just telling you how I prepared for my trip to go be an artist. And I've got these journals. Remember, it's handmade. This is my first painting in it. But I love the style of the paper. I love the feel of the paper. And I love the fact that this paper is 200 grams, so that's 95 pounds. So it's a very healthy paper, but it has, for a journal, it's even thicker than my Japanese art journal that I'll be taking with me to paint in every day. But I love just the messiness of what that does. See there, you look at that close and you go, it's a lobster pinned in there, but there's all this colors just splashed around. And I painted that with an NIJI brush. Yasutoma is kind enough to send some brushes and to send brushes to you. There's some coming your way, I hope. Those of you who've won brushes on this show, and we'll be giving, in fact, I'm going to give away two more tomorrow before I leave town, and I'll send your names out. So there it is. Let's paint a rooster. And this is kind of like the tablecloth I painted on last night, and you got to be very careful when you're doing that. But these are NIJI water brushes, and the thing I like about water brushes is you want to get messy, you just hold it and squeeze it a little bit, but if you're not careful, you're going to get more water than you want. And in the words of Michelle, who says one of her favorite parts is this right here. She said, you know what one of my favorite parts is? I'm going like, well, no. And she says, it's just grabbing that paper towel and going in here and lifting up some wet paint like this. Oh, and letting it go to a whole nother world. Okay. All right. Phil's already given you a link there at Cheap Joe's Global Art Handbook Watercolor Journals. There it is right there. Boom. And Miss Carla says she's going to comment a lot tomorrow. Well, there you are. Dawn Keyser, thanks for being on the show, and you're welcome for the link. There it is. Phil gave it to you. Boom. So I got these from Cheap Joe's Art. Hey, look, Cheap Joe's, those guys are great to me. They are dear friends. Megan and Brian and Joe Miller himself, they just do a fabulous job. In fact, I got a whole bunch of his brushes laying out on the desk this morning, and just did a video that I'll send you the link to that when it comes out. From I did a little video thing about two of my favorite brushes, which are the two that I give away on the show, the SW1 and the SW3 from Yasutoma out in Torrance, California. They're owned by KUSA. All right, so here we go. Let me paint something else for you this morning, and but I wanted to show you all those journals. And the problem with being an artist is don't just go out and spend your money like crazy. But if you're selling some art and you want to replenish your supplies, it's a fun way to do that. So I started sketching a painting this morning, if I could find it. Here it is right here. And so this is called the segue that didn't work. I just have gone from lobsters back to a rooster, and I'm going to put this over here so it dries. That's that little journal. Don't you love that little journal, though? This, the shape of it just made me want to buy it. I hate to say this cute little journal, but I think I probably did. Okay, so let's put on a piece of music that just sounds different. Here we go. It's a maybe on the Outer Banks, maybe on USA 1, you know, you hear the music and you think, wow, the ocean's in the background. And then you see this rooster, and he's tooling down US 1 on a motorcycle. So I started pencil sketching this morning. Here, let me just rip this page out here. Get this out of there. This is Kilimanjaro paper, just so you know what I'm painting on. That's important. Not for sponsor's sake, because, hey, but for just to know what I use. This is the original bright white, and I love that white paper, once again, because the colors pop. This is 140 pound. This is pure rag cotton, and this paper's made in London. Well, I shouldn't say London. It's made in England, somewhere over there. And this music is pretty cheesy, but I kind of like it. Here we go. Here goes my little Roo. There he is right there. His when I started sketching him, I realized his comb was blowing back, and that's what gave me the idea to put him on a motorcycle. There he comes right there. And maybe these are blowing back. Some feathers are coming loose. I mean, come on. He's rocking and rolling. He's sprinting down US 1. And I'm going to probably change this. I think I'm going to lay this out just a little bit more, give him a little more space here. I already see the wheel in there, but I think I'm going to blow this out just a smidge. So I'm just going to erase that. That's the good thing about using a pencil sometimes. I'll just go and get a different piece. So now I'm going to come in there. I've got the roof sort of in. And I'm going to bring out a piece here from his wing. And then I'm going to do the gas tank right here, I think. And then a big old headlight right here. Maybe there it comes down. Kind of an old bullet headlight. I kind of like that. Handlebars are coming up here, coming back. Got a little clutch there. No circles, just freehand them there. You know, it's close enough. I mean, like, who cares but me, right? Nobody. What happened? Did they cut me off already? Oh, that was a short piece of music, wasn't it? Oh, let's go back to something. Let's just find a piece of music here that's just completely different and just find something. What's this? I have no idea what this is. I purchased all this music and hadn't even listened to all of it yet, so forgive me. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to draw this chain guard coming back, and then I got it come down with a shock here, and then I'm going to put this big old back wheel right here. Here we go. Maybe a shock in there right here. Maybe a tail fin, just a little tail light. I'm going to put a front fender on here, just a short one there. Some spokes in there. The head of the motorcycle engine, got a few bolts. There's a tank coming down. I put some feathers down over that tank too. There we go. There's a sprocket coming down. I'm put the chain in here like this. So, you know, for me, I'll just come to mind. I started ahead of this rooster, and I get a little more pencil line out of there. Just get some of that pencil out, sketching over this pen. Throw that away. I don't need that. That's a little fly sheet in between. And so let me just go with this pen. I had it out. This is the water brush. Let me show you how to paint on regular watercolor with the water brush. All right, here we go. Time is it? 9:42. Man, when time flies this morning. I've been on a roll. Hope you had your notepad with you, or 6 of them, or 8 like me, so you can take some notes. And why do I carry all those things? Why? Because I love art so much that I might just see something that I want to sketch. Boom. I counted that one in my 100 sketch. It's worth it to just count them. I'm at 99. I'll do the 100th one today. I'll probably be 104 or 5 or 6 and I'll do one on the plane. In one of those little books. The lady asked me last night, why are you painting? Well, that's green. I don't think we want that up there. The lady asked me last night, why are you painting lobsters? And Carol says to her, because we are going to Maine, and we're excited, and we're not ashamed to tell everybody. It's a trip that we've never done. We've been saving for this trip for a while. And so we're going to eat lobster. We're going to paint. We're going to walk on near harbors, and we're going to visit with people we meet along the way. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have a Maine story. They go, hey, I was there. Lady last night said, my sister's there. Another lady said, I lived there for 6 months. Oh my gosh. I'm going like, who are you people? And I've never even been there, for heaven's sakes. So there's a good example of just using a bunch of little splotch colors to get in the way that I want this rooster done. You see that? Maybe put a little orange right in here just to have some loose feathers kind of flying out there. It gives a little action. I like it. I like it a lot. Clean out my brush a little bit. I can squeeze that. Remember, you got to be careful when you're cleaning out water brushes because you'll use all your water cleaning the brush. So if you have another cup of water sitting around, it's good to just assist that a little bit. You got to be careful with this brush too. You squeeze it too much and you are going to dump a boatload of water on your painting. So this is a medium NIJI brush. These are I get from Yasutoma Company. And this is a small point here. So I'm going to switch brushes. And I just thought it'd be fun to use this. I'll do 90% of my paintings in Maine with this brush right here. I'll have some Yasutoma brushes with me. I'll have probably a number 1, a number 3. I'll have a 0. I'll have some brushes like this because I'm taking small pieces to paint. So there's my bamboo brushes. I'll probably take with me, I'll take a 6, 7, 8. I may take a 12 just for big old skyline or landscape. So these are American Journey brushes. I'll take those with me. I'll take 3 fountain pens. I'll take a couple Pentel pens. Look, and you know what? My wife and I, Carol and I, have this thing that we say, they have stores there. But I don't like to be dealing with not finding what I need. Okay, let me move all these pins aside and bring my palette in closer like this. And I think this gas tank on this machine is going to be green. Yeah, I think it just needs to be green. I think it'll stand out if it is. There's green. I think the fender is going to be green like this. This is a 360 Mallard Duck. That's not a real motorcycle, but that's what I named mine when I had a motorcycle. Yes, I was one of those guys. I sold it 2 weeks before I got married because I was not safe on it. I was a good rider. In fact, I was pretty doggone good. And so it made me take chances that I just didn't want to take, knowing that I was about ready to marry a young lady. And so I had jumped my motorcycle too far, a long distance, because I was one of those guys. You know, I was back in the days of evil and Knievel. And so it scared me one day. It scared me so poorly that I just up and sold it. And didn't poorly? Did I use the word poorly? Yeah. I felt poorly after I jumped it. I kind of got sick in my stomach. I just went, oh, I cleared this jump and I made it just fine. And it was pretty awesome. And then my adrenaline just kicked in and I got ill. And I went, oh, I went way too far. Went close to 78 feet and about 15 feet in the air. Cleared all the obstacles. It wasn't jumping an automobile. It wasn't being that crazy. But anyway, so there's a rooster on a motorcycle. You can see how fast that takes place. And this is, for me, this is my caricature sketching that, and here's where I can use this water brush to just pump in some water and let that pen bleed into the background. How fun is that? Need a little bit of green in his goggles, his racing goggles. There it is right there. He's got on some sunglasses. I'll come in and I'll take my pen and I'll just do a few more details here, maybe some tire marks on the tire like so. This tire's got a little bit of green on it over here because I didn't wash my brush out really well. Broke my own rule. Let's see, it has a little, put his name on the side, Roo, right there. Handlebars. Coming down, there's a shifting peg. There's, I got to have a header coming out. There it is right there. You know, you got to know enough about what you're painting to know how an engine looks on a bike. And so there comes the header out to the back right there, and it's going off of that side. Might put a couple little oil cleaner box right here and an air cleaner off the back side. Yeah, see, I used to take motorcycles apart. And it's a pretty fun thing. Taking motorcycles apart was what I did my first camp job. Well, I washed pots for a week and a half, and then Skeeter Powell sent me outside to the outdoor crew, and because they knew I could weld and put take things apart. So one night, Skeeter and I, and this happened later, I think after his his week. He was there in the month of June, and then I got to go home, and then I came back and spent another 3 weeks with the Honda guys who ran this Honda program at this camp. There we go. So there's a Roo on a motorcycle. He just needs a splash. Let's just give him a good splash here. I'm gonna pick up a number 6 brush, go in and get a little bit of ultramarine blue, and I need a pencil. Is there one anywhere on the desk? Here we go, right here. And I'm just going to do some, hold the pencil up and just tap this brush down on it. And you might not can see those from where you live through a camera, but it just gives me a little bit of a dirt in the air. And I'm going to do some dirt. I'm going to do a little brown right under here like this, just on the road. Give some action to the painting, and maybe just sweep some of this blue in like so. And there it is right there. Roodoodles.com. M21. And so there's, and then I might come in here and put a little detail in this. I'm going to come in maybe with that same brush. Let me come in with this brush right here. Pick up just a little bit of black. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of black framework in there like so. Catch some of that black. There we go. And there we go. That's not a bad little motorcycle, actually. Yeah, a little Yamaha 250 with a 21-inch tire in the front, 18 in the back. See, you got to know that. So last night, Carol and I, yesterday, we were called, and thank Trish Brown. It's really fun to just give away a painting that you do on a tablecloth at a restaurant, and just but what happened was there were 2 other tables near us, and they both sort of went, well, what are we, chip beef? And so I reached in my back pocket and I had 2 of my little cards, and I did a lobster. Ooh, that got me up to the 97, 98, 96, 97, and so I did 2 little lobsters, and because they both wanted cards. And so I said, well, wait, I'm marketing here. And so that's what you do as an artist. You give away your work. And it doesn't go, there's a great scripture about throwing your bread out on the water and it comes back to you. And so you just throw it out there and you say, take it home. And I told her as we walked off, I said, ma'am, don't feel obligated to frame this. And she said, are you kidding? I love this. And that made me feel good. And she and her husband are going, and he sort of looked at me and goes, thank you. And I went, whoa. How meaningful was that? So, Trish, I appreciate you picking up on that. It's fun. So, Carol and I, quick last story of the day, and you'll probably love this, how things connect and how the world comes back around. Maybe that's why, and there it is right there. There's my connection. Everything is connected, right? Everything is fodder for a story. So here's what was happening. How is the best way to describe this? Carol and I got this amazing opportunity yesterday to go to see a touring Broadway play, which was Wicked. And we sat on the 3rd row. Oh my gosh. I mean, the costuming, the people's faces and their expressions and their humor, and you could just hear them. We look over into the orchestra pit. It was just absolutely tremendous. Thank you, my dear friends, David and Joyce, and who called us and said, hey, we got 2 tickets. You want to go with us? And we went, we're on the bus, Gus. So I opened up, listen to this. I opened up the playbill, and the first name I saw was composer. It's just how my mind shot to that. You know, when I've drawn a name on here, ding, and I saw it, it says composer, and it said Stephen Schwartz. Bing, and little firecrackers go off in my mind. Stephen Schwartz, oh my gosh, 1971. Stephen Schwartz was 23 years old. No kidding. This is how a storyteller's brain works. He wrote Godspell. Godspell. I was a 17-year-old, 16 turning 17, maybe not. Maybe I was 17 already turning 18. I don't know. I was listening to that piece of music I'd not seen to play. I was listening to that piece of music. We plow the fields and scatter the good seed on the land, but it is fed and watered by God. And I thought, all good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. I just love that piece. There's a song that all the camps sang as I was growing up, day by day, day by day. Stephen Schwartz wrote all that. Stephen Schwartz didn't know anything about religion. He didn't know anything about faith at the time. He just opened up the Bible and he read the story and he wrote a musical composition to it. It was unbelievable. He was in the likes of Andrew Lloyd Webber and later who wrote Jesus Christ Superstar. And so all these things were coming during that time. So I knew that piece of music over and over and over and over in my head. And so went to camp and didn't think anything about the music and didn't have any ways to play music there. And where we were living, maybe up in the office, which I was going to find out later by this story. And there was a lady there named Barb, and I know her last name, I won't tell you. But Barb, because this has been part of the story of my life forever, and I thought it yesterday. I had about 20 minutes before the orchestra cranked up and everything happened, and I saw Stephen Schwartz, and this came to mind. Stephen Schwartz composed Wicked in 2003. And I thought, how old is he now? So I grabbed my phone and I Googled him. He's 73 years old, and he wrote this in 2003. And I thought, wow, this guy's still doing what he loves to do. Come on. Is that exciting or what? This guy's still doing what he loves to do. And it just blew my mind that he was able to continue that. What a highly favored person. And he may not know how highly favored he is. So, Stephen, you're highly favored. Like you people who are artists and think like artists, you're highly favored. There I am sitting on the third row. I'm highly favored. I am grease deep in a transmission to a motorcycle at this Young Life camp. It's 2 a.m. I've been transferred from work crew, did my month with them, come back, went home a couple of weeks, changed clothes, did the laundry, came back as part of the summer staff that year, and I was in this Honda barn working on motorcycles. In the dark, looking across this small lake, the wind and the fog are kind of coming in at 2 a.m. Typical North Carolina morning. No paved streets then, no street lights. It was all, just couldn't even hardly see your face, except for over on this dining hall, they had a big spotlight or an outdoor floodlight. And it was sort of just looked like a tunnel. And I was looking through this foggy tunnel and that's all I could see. Looking out through the crack in the barn door, and I was there in grease, and I had towels laid out, and shop towels. I had my wrenches there, and I had to have this bike running by the morning. Everybody's gone to bed but me. Got the shop light down, and I put together a transmission, which I loved doing. It's the way I served. And then suddenly I heard it. I heard this sound that came through across the water and just filled up the barn. It's 2 a.m. The place is pitch black. All the campers have gone to bed, and the sound was this. True story. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. And I went, and I got this cold chills that went up my neck. And so I went, so I drop a wrench, cling, 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 and then I slide back the barn door. It's already open a little bit. I just pull it back and I slide back, and I'm looking into this fog, and I hear it again. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. And then it does it again. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't even have time to wash my hands. I'm out of here. I didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly I realized these crackle of a needle. And I'm thinking, it's the album. Someone's playing the album. And I think the speakers are on the dining hall porch and they're aimed right at my barn. And Skeeter can attest to this fact if he remembers that old set 50 years ago. And I grab my motorcycle, and I started up my Yamaha, and I go ripping around the gravel in the dark, and I throw it down behind the dining hall, and I run up the stairs. By now, lights are coming on all over the camp. People are walking out and going like, whoa, and then suddenly the drums start. And it's a rock and roll song that Stephen Schwartz had written. And I go, Barb! And she comes out of the office because she's been doing some paperwork in the office. And I go, the music! And she goes, oh! And she's flipped on the wrong switch because it had an intercom system or an outer comm system all over the whole speaker, the property. And she's playing this music. By now, all the head counselors came down, and everybody's waking up. People are coming with flashlights. And so by this time, I sneak back down the stairs, go out the back of the dining hall. I get my motorcycle, and I start pushing it back down. I'm not riding that thing back. One of the guys stops me, and he says, hey, what's going on here? And I said, well, I think Barb was just rocking out a little bit in the music. He goes, everybody in the whole camp is awake. And I'm going like, hey, I got to get back to the shop. That was my connection to motorcycle. That was my connection to Steven Schwartz yesterday. And I sat there and had this great moment of thinking, wow, where was I doing 50 years ago that I remember the name Steven Schwartz? Don't you see how everything is connected by a story? And I still remember it like it happened yesterday. And it made me want to go listen to that music. I came home last night and after our dinner, and I Googled Godspell, and I listened to the song. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Boom. And I'll probably listen to it today. So you never know what's going to happen. So, hey, listen, keep your cotton picking art supplies handy. Keep your brushes moving, and keep your water clean, and your paper crisp and white, and you'll be painting some great stuff soon. I've got a few more lobsters to do, and I've got to start packing my bags tomorrow. I am out of here like a herd of turtles. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm so blessed to be able to tell stories and hopefully, just hopefully for 1 second, encourage you to keep staying behind the mule. The book is called Noodle, Doodle, Fiddle, Piddle. Noodle, Doodle, Fiddle, Piddle. And if I had rules, they'd be the watercolor rules. Pat Brooks herself did all the artwork. They're more than just how to paint watercolor. They're little lessons you can share with your kids and stories and grandkids about life and about how you can, what if you did. So you can find it on Etsy.com. You can find it on Roodoodles.com. That'll take you to Etsy. Or you can buy it on Amazon with a couple other books that I have there. I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing. I got to go shoot a video.